We're entering a place called Dixie Valley. It's between the Stillwater Range, the Chalk Mountains, and then behind it is another range known as the Alpine-clad Mountains, which have some greenery and forest. It's not all high desert. We have to take this road for a couple miles, and then it'll veer off to a ghost town called Wonder. In 1861, obviously mining came to the area, hence the large mining operations of Hercules and Wonder. Miners came here to mine salt, potash, and borax. And of course, you needed a food supply to be able to feed the miners. There's about 5 or 6 ghost towns, including Dixie Valley. And since there's a lot of natural springs, as you take this road about 20 miles, maybe further in, it's all ranch land. However, in the early 1900s, many ranchers came to the area to take advantage of the abundant water supply and springs in the valley. Even today, it's very lush, supposedly. I won't know, because the naval base up in Fallon purchased this land in 1983, I believe, maybe 1980, and they use this as a bombing range. And basically, there's about 50 abandoned ranches, and some of the F-14s and military planes have literally bombed what's left of the ghost town, which isn't very much. If you take this road for about 20 miles, eventually you come up to a military bomb zone from the naval base in Fallon. So you cannot really enter the ghost town, and whatever remains on public property is just piles of wood and debris. There might be a few ranches. There's a lot of little side roads that go left and right, but you'll notice if we were to head another 15 miles, maybe when we come back around, you'll see it's just nothing but lush farmland. I see the road to Wonder right there going up.
There's no way to go over there.
Uh-oh. There are about 50 families. That's where we gotta go. Here's the sign for Wonder. 50 families were living on the ranches. This is our road to Wonder. Due to the water supply, and they grew alfalfa, they raised cattle, they used the water. Here's Fairview Peak, by the way. And you can see from the 1954 earthquake, multiple faults. It's the 12th biggest quake on record, with the 7.5 that took place behind the peak. And this is the road to Wonder, which will take us up into the Chalk Mountain Range to our left. There was no newspaper. Dixie Valley did have a post office from 1918 to about 1933. And as I said, in the 1980s, this became part of the U.S. Navy Electronic Warfare Range. I've heard of people finding NATO cartridges, seeing tests, like bombs being dropped off in the distance. I've heard this from multiple friends who've hiked out here. But supposedly, Dixie Valley is littered now that it's part of the government. But at one time, you were able to visit many of the abandoned homes, ranches, corrals, things of that sort. Today, if you were to go through Dixie Valley, there's a lot of military housing, armored vehicles. There's a lot of warning signs about federal trespassing. And downtown is pretty much owned by, like I said, the U.S. military. We cannot go there today. And I want to fix an error. It was a 7.3 earthquake that hit the faults. But if you look around, it was the 12th largest earthquake in the contiguous United States. You can still see the fault line, which I'll get into later. I just want to let everybody know that we're on our way to the ghost town. I'll give a little brief history as we head north. You can kind of see through the window.
Do I go straight or do I go left?
You go left. Do not go straight. That's the back road to the Overland Station, like the Pony Express route. This is the old wagon road. See how it goes up behind the 2 mountain ranges? It's where the mills nestle back there. We will ascend up into the mountain range. It's a pretty good road. I will tell you right now, you can do it with 2-wheel drive. Just make sure your tires are good. You have this lone, this is just a single mountain here. It's part of the Chalk Mountains, but it's all by itself. It's massive, and you go between the Chalk Mountains and the alpine clad mountain range, and Hercules and Wonder and even the ghost town of Victor are all nestled in that deep canyon. And it just loops back around the Dixie Valley, and I've already gave you guys a history because we can't go on the government base. I would love to do some of the abandoned farms, but they all belong now to the federal government. So this is our next best choice, is to explore the massive mill ruins of Wonder. I'll catch you with more historical great info in a few minutes as we ascend. Once we hit the pass, I'll probably roll the camera again. This is your founder of PGS, Paranormal Ghost Society, Lord Rick, as we off-road and ascend into the heart of the ghost town of Wonder, Nevada. Fairview Peak. There's also a ghost town called Fairview nearby. As you can see, I'm just keeping everybody posted. We're still on a dirt road. It's quite a few miles before you get to Wonder. Maybe 11 to 15. It's nestled up in this canyon ahead. And I'll tell you a little bit about Wonder once we get near approaching it. The rest I'll get into once we get to the mill site. Because I have a couple tidbits of history that I'll give you the basic history, and then I'll give you the extensive history once we get to the town site. Well, this is a wash to our left. And yes, during flash floods, that wash could be very deadly when the rains come. So you have to be careful. You don't want to be hiking down in the wash. Of course, we're on the road, so there's no danger here. But if water did come down off the mountains, it would go through the wash to our left. We're going to be heading into the canyon, and once you go through the canyon a couple miles, you come out to this big valley, and that's where Wonder is. We're still ascending. We're working our way almost to around 4,600 feet. The elevations are a little bit more low as well. Not as high as the Sierras, of course. But all this was underwater during the Lake Lahontan Sea before the sea levels had declined and this land became a little more habitable. Entering the canyon, it looks like we got raindrops on the windows. We're getting some sprinkles. Hopefully I'll be able to go into Wonder Mine and explore. I've seen a couple mines, but they're so high up and small, they're not worth hiking to. I want something decent I can do an investigation, even if it's a few hundred feet. I need more to work with. It seems like the further we go in, the better the road becomes. Not as many rocks like earlier. It's a Wonder Wash. That's what some people call it. You can see we're in the middle of nowhere. I want to get some photos, so we'll keep you up to date as we head into Wonder. You can see, ladies and gentlemen, there are mines up here. Those are called dump piles. Those are mines. Probably part of the Wonder Mining District. But the main mill and the mine behind it is Giganto. So we need to make sure we focus on that, not these little hikes that take us to a 20-foot long tunnel, because it just will eat into our day. We got to hit the main sites around Wonder. Wow, there is nothing out here. No wonder why this town died. Look at the wash switches to the right side. You could see the years of erosion that water one time ran through here, but wow. We'll continue on with this journey, but it's obvious we are in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we're in the canyon, yeah, and the canyon will open up, but this is all that you have to work with. Just a lot of cliffs, rocks, a lot of volcanic rock, and a very narrow dirt road. Here's even a gated road. You definitely don't know what the heck that is.
Open shaft.
Is it? It's a shaft, yeah.
They've closed up.
Yeah, it's a shaft. I'll be back more footage, just trying to show you what the canyon looks like before we enter Wonder. Wow. Yeah, I gotta get photos of those. I'll be back with more. Check out those peaks, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we're coming up on maybe a bull or something black. I cannot, yeah. Hold on, let me get a good picture of them. You can move up.
Go here.
Oh yeah.
There's a couple.
Stop right there. Just a little. Okay, there you go. We have cattle here that graze pretty freely. You can move on. The cattle here are just curious as much as we are, and see them staring. Beautiful scenic backdrop. It's a lot like Utah. They're following us with their eyes. Oh, that white one? I didn't see the white one. Oh well.
It's 'cause it was peeking through that.
He was hiding in the bushes, the white one. Or beige. We're almost in Wonder, so apparently the cattle roam fairly free around Wonder. I didn't know that. Maybe we'll see some wild horses or some antelope. There are some woods up in the range. Once you go over those mountains, it's very, like I said, it's very green. It's not something you expect to see in the desert. There are woods beyond the range. And there are black bear and wolves and some pretty good sized wildlife. Like the antelopes are pretty good size, and to see them is very rare, but we've seen them up in this area doing other ghost towns. But it's pretty exciting. Think about it. You're heading down the road to nowhere. You see cattle grazing. It's free range. You could explore anywhere you want to explore, and it's vast. It's all yours for the taking. So if I come across any more wild cattle, whoa. I just seen it. Wow, that bird. Hold on. Let me see if I can get him. See him?
Cows or horses or something.
Nice.
The rock stuff. Is there another one in there?
Besides seeing cattle grazing, we have a bunch of wild mustangs. Look at all the wild mustangs. Check out all the wild mustangs, everybody. Totally Wild West. Got a bunch of mirrors and wild mustangs. I got a bunch of photos of them too. Some good ones. You have to keep in mind they're about half a mile to a mile away. So not only have we seen cattle, but we've also seen some mustangs. There's a bunch of wild mustangs, but I've never seen a pure white one like that. For some reason, the sun's reflecting off them, so you could barely see them on video, but I got pictures that I'll be attaching to this video, so you can actually see some of the great shots we took. This is like Utah country. Some of the rock formations kind of look like Utah up ahead. And of course, this is the Chalk mountain range we're in, but up ahead, you see those mountains off in the distance. That's the alpine clad. Those darker mountains. Those are the alpine clad mountains. And this big valley coming up ahead, well, that's part of the ghost town right there, but we're not taking that road. This road will take us about 2 more miles. We'll be in the ghost town site. And if you really want to go to the original town site, it's all below the mill and another little tiny valley between another canyon. The ghost town's kind of in 2 different valleys. You had the rural town, and then about 2 miles up the road you had where all the housing and saloons and businesses were. You had different sections of town. You had your bordellos and saloons in one section, and I'll kind of get into that as we get closer or draw closer, but beautiful territory. A lot of woods. You can see why the cattle would enjoy grazing. It's pretty free range, especially the antelope and the wild horses. And it's been a big win this week. If you read the news, they're not going to use the fertility drug on the horses because they said it's cruel. So therefore, when they release the mustangs, they'll be allowed to continue to breed freely. And they're not like cats or dogs where they have 5, 6 horses in a litter. They just have one horse. Twin birth is very rare. it's not like there's going to be a population boom of wild horses. And if there is, this is the place where obviously where they can roam without being hit by cars or have any human interaction or people trying to shoot at them or hit them with their cars. We have more cattle roaming around the site of the ghost town. I don't know if everybody can see them, but there's about 6, and then I see, if you zoom ahead, there's a few by the road. We're about to head into Wonder. Hercules and Dixie Valley's to the left. That's, if you go between that canyon, that's Hercules Canyon. You can hit Hercules and Victor. If you continue straight on this, you'll hit the town site and the mine and the Wonder Mill. The Wonder Mill is extensive. That's where mainly our investigation and photography is going to be. That's the meat of things, where the mine is. And you can see up here we have more cattle. There's a lot of cattle. Oh, they are super skinny. Wow. We're coming up on the town site soon. Let me get into the history of Wonder, because this is the outskirts of town right now. You can see there's a road going up to what looks like maybe a mine, but it's not. It's actually just areas where they tried to strip mine and were unsuccessful or did testing. But when prospectors came to the ghost town of Fairview, they headed 29 miles north and formed a tent camp around May of 1906. Then you had a rush of miners and businessmen and women and their children, and the miners and their families and people that worked at the mill. They all sprang here. They removed most of the sagebrush. You had a lot of tents. You had a lot of businesses, saloons, boarding houses, all that. This town had its own newspaper. It was called the Wonder Mining News. Hold on. Okay, that way's the Hercules. And this way you can take, hold on, let me look at my map. If you keep straight, keep on this road, or go right and go around, or we can come back around on our way back, so that's fine too. And their August 11th issue, this is from ghosttowns.com. My buddy, he volunteers there. In the news, their first issue said, "Did you know that Wonder has no mosquitoes?" But it sure had a lot of heat. It was in the middle of the desert. Road's getting a little rough. And then a few months later, the post office was open, I think in 1907, and another newspaper opened, and by fall, this place had it all. Businesses like general stores, drug stores, essay office, stage line, that could hold, whoa. Oh, I see some stuff there. What?
Where do I go when I get down here? Just keep going that way.
Yes, yes. Just be careful going down. Your stagecoach line was able to hold 6 horses. And then they had coaches which ran from Fairview and Fallon until the railroad came. This also had a freight depot, a couple mills, mines, like I said, cafes, sporting house, hotels. This was an upscale ghost town. But businesses sold for a lot. Like today, the businesses would have been a couple $100,000. But back then, the land and the property was expensive, and the camp did not last long. A lot of mining companies came here, the Nevada Wonder Mining Company particular, and that was founded in 1906, and then they built the mill, which you guys will get to see, and everything stayed till about 1913, and then they revitalized this area in the 1960s and 70s and tried to mine it and weren't very successful. In the year 1919, the Wonder Mill had fully shut down. Yeah, this will take you to the Wonder Mill, which is going to be up to our left soon. All that's really left of the town are foundations. I seen a few wooden structures that were collapsed. I seen a couple piles of cans along the way. I'll hit all those on my way back. We need to... There's the Wonder Mill. See how large it is? Pull your window down, man. I get it. Hold on a second. Look at that. That, my friends, is the monolithic Wonder Mill, and it is huge. Look at that. Wow. I see the mine. Hold on. You guys just seen the Wonder Mill off in the distance. This here, don't go left, go right first. It'll circle around where it'll intersect with the road. Because I want to see if there's any foundations or any areas we can look around and check out some sites that belong or were part of the town. But yeah, you can go, yeah, stay to your left. This goes in a circle. There's an area around the other end I want to check. There was 4 active mines in Wonder when it was booming here, and they had, you know, a couple saloons, a couple boarding houses, but they said that most of the people that lived in Wonder lived in tents, which was not uncommon. And forgive me for the chip in the window, but this is a Jeep and it does take a beating. Just gives it character, right? But that's the Wonder Mill. And this road supposedly goes in a circle, and you can park in front of the mill and you can visit the mine, or at least most of the mill ruins. And right below the mill is where the original town site stood. So that's where we really want to be. And this just loops around in a circle. But you can see everything's overgrown. There's no foundations or buildings. The mill is the meat of things when it comes to this town. See, it's all overgrown back there. Post office ran from April of 1907 to about December of 1907, so it didn't even stay open a full year. And Tammy's going to take us up near the Wonder Mill. It just goes around to our left, and then it goes down to it. Not much remains but the mill to the ghost town. The mill is all that's left. And I'll tell you what, if that's all that's left, that's fine. It's still very scenic, and it's a very prestigious mill worthy of putting on our site. Wow. At least the roads aren't too bad back here. I will admit that. You could tell they've mined the whole side of this. How it's all cut off. Yeah, just stay to your left. Oh yeah, this will take us right up to the mill, and we can park. And then we can hit those roads down there and look for the ghost town. There's some foundations I've seen of wood. There's posts, there's debris piles, there's roads to nowhere. It should go left. Let's see. Or is it that road down there, or is it this road here? It must be this road.
What's that?
That's a mine.
Do you want to look at it, or you want to keep going?
Let me go take a quick look at it. I'll be right back. I just don't think it looks like it just collapsed, but still, let me show you everybody what Dixie Valley looks like, since I'm already out and taking video. But you have miles and miles of dirt roads. Look at that. Tears and tears and tears of just areas that have been strip mined, debris piles. The whole half of the mountain is gone. Here's Dixie Valley. Look. This is worth a scenic shot. Totally.